Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, we've been talking this week about being an asset manager and being a good asset manager. And I want to talk to you about what it takes to find a good property manager, because as an asset manager, as a general partner, you've got to find the right property manager in order to properly run your apartments. And maybe you want to form your own company, that's fine, but a lot of this applies as well. So first, what I'm looking for, first of all, let's start with how do I even find one? And in my opinion, the best way to find anybody to work with is referrals. So I'm gonna ask for referrals, and I like to ask everybody that I come in contact with for referrals. So I'm going to ask my real estate brokers for who the referrals are of the property management companies. I'm going to ask my lenders. I'm going to ask my appraisers and anybody I come in contact with that might have contact with property management companies. I'm going to ask those property management companies for referrals for other areas, and then I'm going to cross-refer. Typically, you come up with several of the same names. I'm also going to ask investors, too. That's really important, too. I'm going to ask other investors that are in the area who they refer. And one thing I found out, I think that investors, for the most part, are actually wanting to see you succeed. I know for myself, in the markets that I invest in, I talk with actually many of the property owners in the area, and we're all trying to help each other out, right? We're all trying to make sure we succeed together, because it actually creates more value to our buildings. Sure, do we have a distressed asset if we see somebody fail? Sure, but in my opinion, you've got a lot better chance of having success if everybody else around you is having success as well. So that's a huge point to get if you want to get a good property management. Is talk with the other people around. They're going to tell you who to avoid. They're going to tell you who to go to. So what are we looking for? We're looking for a property management company that can communicate really well. So how do they communicate with you, and how are you perceiving their communication with your residents, right? I want a property management company that truly respects and appreciates their residents. And that's really, really important. I don't want them to treat them like they're tenants, like they're just people that are paying them rent and that's it. I want them to treat them like residents, like they belong, like they're providing them a home and they're giving service, right? They're not out there just to collect rent. They're actually providing value, and in exchange, they're getting paid that rent. But they're providing value first and foremost. So I want that company, but I also want them to be firm, right? I don't want them just to be buddies with everybody. I want to make sure that they understand their role. They understand that their job is to ultimately provide that service, but collect for that service that they provide. So I think that's really important. So are they communicative? Are they firm? Are they fun? Or not fun necessarily, but fun, but good to be around, pleasant to be around. Do they exude that? Do they believe in that? Do they believe in a culture that's positive? Do they believe in a culture that's looking out for the tenants? And I think that's really important. There's different management companies. You might say, well, that's pretty common sense, but a lot of management companies, that's not their vision. That's not kind of how they're set up. They're not set up to do that. They're set up just to try to make as much money as possible. And in my opinion, that doesn't make as much money as possible. Are they detail orientated, right? I want somebody that's going to take care of my books. I want somebody that's going to be very detail orientated. I want them to be very into the new technology, not necessarily always switching around, but into technology that's going to allow them to run more efficiently, my properties to run more efficiently. I want them to be very organized, right? So that's really important. I also want them to be flexible. I'm going to ask them questions that's going to lead me to, are they flexible? Are they going to allow me to give input? I understand they've got their systems and processes, and I understand they have to follow those, but will they work with me when we have problems? Will they come up with solutions? Are they solution orientated, or are they just stuck in their ways? That's really valuable. So those are the things I'm going to really be looking for. Are they always willing to learn? Are they, what are they doing to continue their education? Because we're always continuing our education. What are they doing to continue theirs? And of course, what are other people saying about them? What are their tenants saying about them? And what are their people? I want to secret shop their properties. I think that's vitally important. We want to secret shop their properties. I want to know, look, if I secret shop 5 of their properties and 4 of the 5 are a dump and a disaster, I know that's what my property is going to look like. If I secret shop their properties and they're all in good condition, the tenants like them, we got positives going on, well, that's what we're going to get in our property. So we want to see what their other properties are being ran like. That's really important. It's one thing if one property isn't maybe looking the best, right? That might be an outlier. That might be the property owner isn't doing their job. We're trying to turn this around, but if it can't, we're going to have to fire the property owner, right? But if all 5 of them or 4 of the 5 are in bad condition, it just speaks of the property management company. I want to find a property management company that is managing my specific niche, right? So if I've got a 100-unit C-class asset, are they managing other 100-unit C-class assets in my area? Or do they not have anything? Look, this isn't my experience, but this is experience of several people I know where they had a management company that was doing a good job managing their properties. And then they ended up buying property in a town nearby, maybe 2 or 3 hours away, or maybe even less. And they had a very poor experience with that same property management company because that property management said, yeah, we can do it. Different asset. Now it's a B-class asset, different town. Had a failure, had to get rid of them, had to hire somebody else. And that's happened several times with people I know. You want to find out how many units they manage. You want them to manage. I like companies that have a large amount of units that they manage. I like that because that's an established company. I know they're not going anywhere. And you know what else it speaks volumes to? If they manage a lot of properties, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 units, 10,000 units, I'd like to see that 3,000 plus units. That means other people trust them, right? If I manage 10,000 units, I must be doing something right as a company. That means other people can trust me. So I like to see that. And we got scale, we've got volume, we've got systems. We didn't get that way by accident. I want companies, I already talked about the detail orientated, but I want them to be able to dig in. I want them to be able to give me a scope, understand, what my leases are going to be at, understand how long it's going to take me to get there. I want companies also that have in-house construction or are able to manage it, right? They don't have to have in-house, but they're able to manage it. Are they able to manage my value add? So again, you got to be tied to my niche, right? I do value add multifamily. They've got to be tied to it. What kind of fees, of course, that's really important. What kind of fees are they charging? How do they charge them? I want performance-based. I don't want just flat fees. That's really important. What kind of added fees do they have? Are they lease renewal fees and so on? I want to really get an understanding of that. A lot of times we hear somebody say, oh, they're charging me 8%. Well, is it 8% and that's it? Or are they charging you on top of that for lease renewals, for leases, all that kind of stuff? That's vitally important, obviously. And I want it to be performance-based. And I really like NOI-driven, not just rent collections-driven, because that means they're looking out for my bottom line, not just how much money they can collect. They care also about my expenses. Do they have any hidden things? Like, are they making me list the property with them, like when I want to sell? That type of stuff. Do I have to use their contractors? How are they communicating with me? Do they offer direct deposit for me? Do they offer e-pay for my tenants? That type of stuff. How is their reporting? When is their reporting? So these are all good questions. There's a ton more questions to be asking them, but I think in general, I just want to impart to you that we really want to get that communication down. And I think the most important part, in my opinion, the most important part when we're looking at a property management company is, what is their vision? Is their vision, do their expectations, do their communication, and does their kind of personality, their culture jive with what I want, right? With where I want my property to go. And that, in my opinion, is probably more important than anything else. If they match in all those, they're likely going to match in everything else that you want. So how do they conduct their business? How do they show up with their culture? Those are the most important things when I'm looking at a property management company. Type in the comments below what you look for. What are the specific things you look for? Maybe what are some things that, like, as you've fired property management companies, you've seen that's gone maybe wrong, or things that showed up that you're like, hey, I got to change this. Let me know what you think. And by the way, if you've got anything that you want me to talk about, shout out, let me know. I'm coming at you every day live. And if you're listening to this on my podcast, join our Facebook group, Multifamily Mastermind on Facebook. If you're listening on Facebook and you're listening on my personal profile, join the Multifamily Mastermind group. Love to have you on there. And let me know, comment, let me know what you want me to talk about. I'm coming at you every day. See ya.